Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, January 7th, the year 2021, and we are just a few days away from the national championship game. And today we preview the biggest matchup of the season. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JStevens07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. Lined up for today's segments number 2 and 3, we will preview the Buckeyes, what they need to do, what should happen when they are on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. But we begin today's show talking about the quarterback, Justin Fields. No, not his health, even though that will come up just a little bit, but about another award that this young man won. It just seems like every year, every all season, Justin Fields is winning this award, winning that award, on this all-conference team, on that all-conference team, on maybe an AP All-American team as well. It just seems like Justin Fields, his trophy case at just a young age, what is he, 19, 20, 21 years old, its trophy case is going to get larger and larger and larger the longer he keeps playing the football, because that's, man, all he has been doing since he has been a Buckeye. 1, he's been winning. 2, he has collected a lot of trophies. The latest trophy that Justin Fields won this year was the Chicago Tribune's Silver Football Award. Now, to you, that may be a new award. You may be saying, Jay, who wins that award? When did that come around? How many Buckeyes have won that award? Has there been a good track record recently with Buckeyes winning that award? Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning. The award was first announced and was introduced in 1924. It is an award that goes to the best football player in the Big Ten Conference, almost basically your Big Ten MVP or Most Valuable Player award. Justin Fields wins this award once again, I believe, over the past 3 years. It's 2 out of 3 years it has gone to a Buckeye. Overall, since 1924, the Buckeyes have won 22 total awards. This award has been given to 22 Buckeyes since it was first announced in 1924. In second place, Wolverine fans will hate this, the team up north. Over the past 9 seasons, this award has gone to a Buckeye 7 times. And when you think about the year Justin Fields has had, the type of adversity Justin Fields has had to go through, the type of things that Justin Fields, the football player, has had to endure, not just on the field, but off of the field as well. Think about stats. We all like stats, but for the season, Justin Fields is 4th nationally in completion percentage at 73.4%. And he is 5th in passer efficiency rating, 186.6. In just 7 games, he has thrown for 1,906 yards, 21 touchdowns with just 6 interceptions. In last Friday's win over the Tigers of Clemson, he moved into 2nd place all time on Ohio State's career touchdown passes list with 62 in just his first 21 career games. This young man, he not only wins, but he does everything in a big way. And it seems like no matter what is in front of Justin Fields, he conquers the task. Yes, he is not afraid to go into adverse situations. He is not a person that escapes adversity. He is not a person that does not have to answer questions off of the field based off how he has played during that season. Indiana game. People are going to bring up the Northwestern game until the end of time. But you can't go to Indiana. You can't look at Northwestern without going to the Sugar Bowl and talking about that heroic performance that young man had during the biggest game at that point in time in this season. Like I said earlier, we'll talk a little bit about his health because the health of Justin Fields is very, very vital and instrumental to the Buckeyes being victorious on January 11th, as a game is still being planned to be played on that day. I know Ohio State has issues with the Rona right now, but as it stands, everyone is looking forward to the game being played in Miami. Coral Gables, as I call it. Actually, I believe this is Miami, not where the campus of the University of Miami is currently. But the game is still being scheduled to be played there on January 11th. Justin Fields, his ribs, the injury, the hit that he suffered and endured and took on by way of James Skalski, it sure seems like Justin Fields will be A-OK. And those of you watching via WKYC in Cleveland, or either you're watching in Columbus or even in Toledo, excuse me, I had to think about the other states. It is WKYC Thursday, so you guys will get to see some antics and some animations that the people listening via the podcast, Locked On Buckeyes, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your fine podcast video, you get some more animations that people listening to this only do not get. Justin Fields, it sure looks like he'll be ready, A-OK, planning to prepare and play in the biggest game of his life. If we can get another heroic performance like what we saw, let's say we as Buckeye fans, but if the Buckeye fans can get another performance like what he had in the Sugar Bowl, hey, the Alabama Crimson Tide will be in for a long game. Guys, this is a big game coming up. Very happy Justin Fields is the quarterback. It's very fun watching him play. It's fun covering him as well. Seeing the ups, seeing the downs, seeing how he responds due to when he's going through adverse situations. Hey, there are some quarterbacks, they fold. They are not the same when things get tough. But Justin Fields, nah, baby. It sure seems like when things get tough, he rises to the occasion. One quick timeout. When we come back, we begin our preview of the biggest game of the year. College football, guys, has just one game left, and the NFL postseason starts this weekend. There's only one place that has you covered and only one place we trust. BetOnline.ag. Sign up today for a free account at betonline.ag and use the promo code LOCKEDON. That is LOCKEDON for your 50% welcome bonus. Like I said, the national championship might be the biggest game of the year that the most money is put on. And the NFL playoffs start this weekend. A lot of you have betting odds, want to know where the lines are, where things are moving, where all the money is going. BetOnline.ag has you covered. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code LOCKEDON to receive a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sports book experts. 2020 is mercifully over. It's time for a fresh start and a few more wins. If you're betting this year and want more wins, listen to Locked On Bets with your boy Q and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. They are picking college basketball, football, and NBA locks all winter long. Subscribe to Locked On Bets wherever you get your podcasts. This, I have said it numerous times all week long. This coming up game is truly the biggest game of the year. Yes, it's a national championship. Yes, it is in the playoff era, not the BCS era or the Bowl Coalition or Bowl Alliance that was prior to that, where the winner of the Big Ten Conference did not get a shot in the national championship game. Yes, there were teams in the Big Ten that won the national championship during those years, but as the team up north says, hey, we won the championship in the 1997 season. As I quickly reminded somebody on the Twitter, that year you won the national championship, that was a split national championship. That national championship that you guys won that year was not one that was awarded to you and only you as a football program. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but just trying to be factual and keep all the information clear, concise, and keep everything in context. This game, the biggest game of the year, you know what's going to happen in a couple days, in a few days from now, about 4 days on January 11th, they're in Miami Gardens, Florida, around 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The kickoff of this game is going to happen. The Crimson Tide better be ready, and the Buckeyes better be ready, because if they are not, it could be a long embarrassment for whichever program does not show up ready to play in this game. When the Buckeyes are on offense, I'm going to mention a couple guys that were not eligible to play this past week, but they may be able to play coming up on Monday. I am not sure about if either will be able to play, but if they are, Master Teague. We're going to start with the backfield, go to the O-line, and then talk about a couple keys for this team very quickly, and then move to the defense in the very next segment. I'm going to remind you, I'm just going to say this very quickly. I am going to try my best not to talk very fast. I do talk fast when there are things that there's a lot of information to go into a short amount of time. Sometimes your boy just starts going and going and going. And some of y'all may say, Jay, you're like the Energizer Bunny. You just don't slow down. Well, I'm going to try and turn over a new leaf. You know, it's 2021, trying to improve my craft and not talk as fast as I normally do. If Master Teague is able to play this Monday, my first guess is he does not get the amount of carries that he got prior to the game against Michigan State. I would not go that route. I would not go there at all. Honestly, I'm letting Trey Sermon keep going. What we saw last year in the Big Ten championship game and even in the Fiesta Bowl, Master Teague's production, now granted, he was a freshman last year, but Master Teague's production went down last year when thinking about what was going to happen, about what the production may be with J.K. Dobbins, the role that he was on, even against the team up north. I believe Master Teague's carries were down that game as well. So that game, then the Wisconsin game in the Big Ten championship, and then against Clemson, his carries and the amount of touches that he got went down. Now, it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to play due to the Rona, but Trey Sermon is on such a roll mid-season form, as I am going to keep saying every single game. I do believe Trey Sermon starts and gets the bulk of the carries. 25 to 30 carries, not touches, is what I believe Trey Sermon should get in this game, because it all starts in the backfield. We have seen Justin Fields. He excels like most other quarterbacks when the running back and the running game is going at a way that the offense cannot pinpoint and focus on one aspect of the offensive attack or another. If Master Teague is able to play, I'm not playing him very much. I'm running him as a backup. Matt Jones. If Harry Miller is able to play, now this is the bigger one. I'm not sure about this at all. But if Harry Miller is able to play, I do not start him. I don't. Yes, you've been the starter all year long. Matt Jones has come in and played very, very well. And honestly, Matt Jones and Paris Johnson came in this past week. Matt Jones played the entire time. Paris Johnson came in due to injury for a few plays. Both of those guys, young men, played so well. I am not. Offense, pass pro, and run blocking has been an issue with Harry Miller this year. He has been the weakest link on the offensive line. I'm keeping 55 right there at left guard and moving the men in the trenches of the Crimson Tide. Goes right to the first key to victory. A move that I believe will be very key for this team. Move and control the trenches. Let me say that again. I'm not sure if everybody got that very clearly. Move and control the trenches. Now you say, Jay, this is the Crimson Tide, man. Are you sure they can control the trenches? Are you sure the Buckeyes are able to do this? You know, going into the Tigers game, the Clemson Tigers game, the Sugar Bowl, a lot of people were curious how in the world the O-line of the Buckeyes will be against the D-line of the Tigers. Oh, man, they got all of these guys up here, man. Clemson this, Clemson that. But one thing I want you guys to remember, when people were talking about the Clemson Tigers defense, you heard a lot about Mike Jones Jr., a linebacker, a lot about James Skowski, a linebacker, a lot about Nolan Turner, a safety, a lot about Darian Kendrick, a corner. You heard only one D lineman, Brian Brzee, a true freshman who made some plays in the Sugar Bowl. But that's it. And there's a reason why that was the case. Move the pocket. Move the pocket too. Not move the pocket, because that's a defensive term. But control the pocket. Move and control the trenches, because you do that the way you did against Clemson, you allow the offense to not be one-dimensional. Now focus on the pass or focus on the run, move and control the trenches. It will allow the team to be a well-balanced attack. And one thing we noticed against Clemson, that up-tempo or quicker style of getting up to the line and calling the play, that was something that confused and didn't allow Clemson to get set. We want to know why part of that was. They're used to Skalski controlling everything. When Skalski was not able to control everything as quickly and the way that he wanted to, the Tigers' defense was out of sorts. One more thing quickly. Run the ball. Oh, excuse me. No, not run the ball. We already touched on that point. There will be times that the offense fields Olave, Wilson, Williamson, maybe even Jackson Smith and Jigba will be able to blow the top off the defense. Capitalize on those moments. The Florida Gators scored 40-plus points against Alabama. It was a shootout. As good as Alabama is, their defense has issues, has holes. The secondary of both of these teams has issues and has holes. When you're able to blow the top off the defense, do it. May it be an RPO or a regular play action, or may it just be a 5-7 step drop and let that thing fly, a double move with Wilson or Olave. Just do what they got to do. Now, Josh Jobe, Patrick Surtain II, these are really, 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 really good cornerbacks that the Buckeyes will go up against. But also, as I believe Kirk Herbstreit mentioned in the broadcast of the Sugar Bowl, the Wilson and Olave duo do not get the attention that they deserve. And this is a time for both of these men to get more attention and just show the country. Yeah. Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner. Great. Jalen Waddle, great. But so are we. Got to step away one more time. One quick timeout when we come back. It's all about the defense, and I'm going old school, baby, with this one. I don't know if a lot of people will understand the way that I'm going with this, but there will be some old school defensive references that I will reference with this breakdown. RockAuto.com is a family business serving auto parts customers online for 20 years. Go to RockAuto.com to shop for auto and body parts for hundreds of manufacturers. They have everything from engine control modules and brake parts to tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Whether it's for your classic or daily driver, get everything you need in a few easy clicks, delivered directly to your door. The RockAuto.com catalog is unique and remarkably easy to navigate. Quickly see all the parts available for your vehicle and choose brands, specifications, and prices you prefer. Best of all, prices at RockAuto.com are always reliably low, and the same for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Go to RockAuto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, locked on in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts available for you. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com. Got a little ahead of myself. The script's right in front of me, and my mind went elsewhere. There's simply no better place to get all the news on the Big Ten Conference than with Big Ten Ben Stevens in the Locked On Big Ten podcast. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, if it's happening in the Big Ten, Ben's got you covered with an in-depth look at the conference every Monday through Friday. Subscribe to Locked On Big Ten wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to the Locked On Buckeyes podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And as we continue this WKYC edition here on the podcast, Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus, getting the video portion of today's episode. Happy to be back with you once again during this football season. Got to remind you, there is a basketball game coming up on Saturday, another game against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. We'll be talking about that matchup tomorrow. Hopefully that game does not get canceled like the game Wednesday was against the Penn State Nittany Lions. But in 2021, a lot of things are still possible. When the Buckeyes, your Buckeyes, are on defense, a lot of attention will go to Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, as it should. But everything once again starts up front. The offensive line, as Luke Robinson of Locked On Bama mentioned on Wednesday. If you had not checked that out, go do that. Like he mentioned, this offensive line of Alabama won the Joe Moore Award. It is an award that goes to the best offensive line, the best unit offensive line in college football. Left tackle, Alex Leatherwood. Left guard, Deontay Brown. Center, Chris Owens. Right guard, Emil Ikira. I hope I said that correctly. And then right tackle, Evan Neal. All of these gentlemen, when you watch them, well-oiled machine. And one thing I noticed that they do very well, that maybe a little nerd note right now, when they get a backside guard or even a front side guard pulling around, this team, their eyeballs, their hips, their ability to get their eyes downfield, even the ability to not pinpoint and tip off where that they're pulling prior to the snap of the ball. They do things that you don't see every day from college offensive linemen. But speaking of pulling, there will be times Najee Harris will get pulled. Backside guard, Emil Ikura Jr., number 55. He is a local talent. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. He went to Cathedral High School, the same high school that Pete Werner went to. I do not believe these two played football together at the same time. I believe Werner would have been a senior when dude was a freshman, maybe, because Emil is a redshirt sophomore, so I'm not sure if they played. My years may be off. I'm trying to calculate years and high school years in my head, and I may have embarrassed myself. It happens. Your boy's human, and we all make mistakes. But this young man is going to be one of the best linemen, offensive linemen in the country. And whenever he comes out to go to the NFL, there's a good chance he could make a lot of money. When these guys pull, I personally believe everything starts with the offensive line, but a lot of their offense flows through Najee Harris. His ability to get open and either catch screen passes or just catches in the flat, or even to run the ball either inside or outside. And as he had that hurdle in the Rose Bowl, which is still weird to say the Rose Bowl was in Arlington, Texas, but as he had that run, Najee Harris does a lot, but he can't do anything if this offensive line does not pull people. When these linemen move, you hear me talk a lot about read and react. Read and react, pre-snap read, post-snap verification. These linebackers are good flying around the ball, and one thing I will say is this. Between the safeties and the linebackers, these linemen, when they pull, when there's an opening there, shoot the hole. Shoot the gap. Go right there and beat Najee Harris to the hole. But Najee Harris, one thing I like when I see this young man run that I can appreciate about his game, he is a very, very patient runner. One thing defenses don't like is patient runners and guys that can make the first man miss. Yeah, you may be right there wrapped up in everything or potentially wrapped up. He gets right. He runs through you, runs around you, whatever you think, and he keeps on moving. It all starts up front. Pre-snap read, post-snap verification. That has to be on point this week against the Crimson Tide. Last but not least, I'm almost out of time here today with today's episode, but these wide receivers, you hear a lot about Devontae Smith. There's a possibility of Jalen Waddle playing. Not really sure. That could be gamesmanship. I'm not sure if he'll play or not. But you have John Mechie III. We all probably know something about him by now. You have Slade Bolden, who is another wide receiver that the Buckeyes will see in this game as well. When thinking about these wide receivers and how they're able to catch slant passes, how they're able to get the RPO game going, how they're able to get the quick passes that go, it's a quick pass they get 5 to 8 yards down the field, then all of a sudden they go for a 60-yard run or 60-yard touchdown. That's how these guys are able to do it. I go back in time. Like I said, I'm going old school, right? Well, not old school, like 60s or 70s old school. But when I was a kid, the greatest show on turf in the NFL, the St. Louis Rams. We all remember it. Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, the slot man, Ricky Prohl. I forget who the tight end was in that team, but the greatest show on turf, and still to this day, that is one of the most fun. That was one of the NFL offenses that I enjoyed watching the most. Yes, the Chiefs offense is fun, but if you want to go back old school and watch some of that tape of them, the film, or go to the YouTube and rewatch that team play, man, It is crazy to watch them play. So, what happened to that team in the Super Bowl against the Patriots that caused the Rams to lose the game? Well, there was a lot of details that went into that. But one thing I remember numerous times, I believe Ty Law, Ronnie Harrison, a couple guys, Ty Law, the cornerback, Ronnie Harrison, the safety. I forget who the other DBs are on that team. And also they have Bruce Gill on that team and some other really good linebackers and really good D linemen as well. Really good defense. That really was what propelled that first run that the Patriots had, that defense there. Offense, Tom Brady was cool, but Tom Brady was not the guy that he is now or even was a few years ago early on in his career in New England. So, I got to say this, and we're out of here. We're out of here for the day. I remember this game not very, very well, but one thing I do remember about this game is this. When those receivers, Isaac Bruce, Ricky Prohl, Torrey Holt, even Marshall Faulk sometimes, when they were going out there and trying to catch passes and catch the ball and get in the open space, catch the ball and get upfield, or catch the ball, receiver I watched growing up, Marvin Harrison style, and save their body and get to the ground very quickly, over and over. Those DBs of the Patriots would not allow those receivers of the St. Louis Rams to get free reign over the middle. And if they were there over the middle catching the ball, they made sure that they felt it. I am not saying do anything illegal. I am not saying get a targeting call like Nolan Turner got in the SEC championship or James Skalski got in the Sugar Bowl, or even last year that Shaun Wade got against Trevor Lawrence. Debate that if that was or not a targeting call another day. But do things legally. You want to find a way to get in the head of Devontae Smith, John Mechie, Slade Bolden, Najee Harris when they're out there catching the ball, pop them. Pop them over and over and over and over again. You say, Jay, they're elusive. They get the ball and they're gone. You're correct. But you want to know what? You want to know one thing that I like about Marvin Harrison? He saved his body. Marvin Harrison Jr., future Buckeye. He may do the same thing very, very soon. Got it from his daddy. Pop them. Pop them over and over and over again. And I'm not saying anything illegal. Nothing like that. I'm not trying to get anybody hurt. But this is football. It's a man's game. There's a reason why you wear pads, the protective gear that you wear. Some wear more than others. We talked a little bit about Fields, the flap jacket versus the back flap that he currently wears. There are little details there that really protect him, and he wasn't really protected in that area when Skalski popped him during the Sugar Bowl. Pop them. If they're over the middle, hey, pop them. LBs, if these guys are underneath and they're within 5 yards, push them. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's not illegal to put your hands on these guys and make sure they feel you when you're there. Pop these guys a couple times. They ain't gonna come over the middle like that. No. Have you seen Devontae Smith? He's a great receiver. But that boy is a rail. He is skinny. Olave skinny, and Devontae Smith is skinny. It's going to be a fun game, guys. Offense, defense very quickly. Guys, come back tomorrow. We'll talk some basketball, some more football, keep you up to date with everything going on with the Buckeyes. And the game's coming up January 11th, biggest game of the year for the Natty, for all the marbles. I'll be tuned in. I'm sure you'll be tuned in. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at JSteven07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked on Buckeye. Remember, guys, 5-star reviews. Fill up the review section on Apple with 5-star reviews. Other places you can listen to Locked on Buckeyes are Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and even iHeartRadio. Just to name a few places you can stay tapped in, tuned in, and not miss anything going on with Locked on Buckeyes, guys. Big show coming up tomorrow. Big show coming up on Monday as we get ready for the national championship. And as always, guys, there's a hashtag I've been utilizing on the podcast Twitter page that I have not utilized here very much, but it still rings true today. Go Bucks!